Okay, boys and girls, let's go ahead and talk about conditional if statements. Now, in Java, we have these statements called if statements and if else statements to make logical conditions to our program. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started to see how we understand this. Now, we declare three integers right here. First integer, second integer, and third integer. We gave them a value of 15, 13, and 17. And let's go ahead and talk about the logical operators we have in Java. There are the greater than symbol, less than symbol, greater than or equal to, less than equal to, equals, and or. Actually, there is also another one called not as well. Save that right there. Now, here's the descriptions of all of them. Let's see here. And obviously, in math, you could tell that the greater than and less than signs, or greater than or equals to, or less than equals to signs, you know what that means. In Java, we should recognize that the double equal sign means equal to, not the regular gets. The get symbol is just an assignments operator, which is one equal sign. The double and means a short circuit and a double straight line means or. Okay? The exclamation point means not. So, let's go ahead and see what that means. Now, in a truth table, which we will go over in class as well, but in a truth table, the only scenario in which an and is true is when both sides of the equation are true. True and true equals true. Everything else is false. So if it's true and false, it's false. False and true is false. False and false is also false. The only time an and statement is true is if both sides of the equation are true. On an or, there's several ways that this could be true. True or true is true, or true or false also equals true. The times where an or statement is false is when you have false or false statement. And that equals false. Alright, so now I understand this can be a little bit confusing, and we will do a little chart in class, and I also will post one on the site a little bit later. Now, the statement for a if statement's logic is that if this is true, then do the following. Alright, so if the statement's true, do something. If not, don't do anything. Pretty simple, right? Here's an example of it. Here's an if statement. The first integer, if the first integer is greater than the second integer, then print this statement. If it's not bigger, nothing will happen. This if statement would be false, and this line will not be printed. So you get it? If the if statement's true, it'll do whatever's in between the curly braces that opens and closes the if statement right here. So if this statement is true, it'll print this. And if we look down here when I ran the program, the first number is bigger. Printed the first number is bigger, meaning because first integer was equal to 15 and the second integer was equal to 13, so therefore 15 is bigger than 13, so therefore it printed the statement. Let's look at an if-else statement. If this is true, perform this. If it's not true or false, do this. So that's what the if-else does. Now, if you notice that this doesn't have an else, you don't have to have an else for every if. But if you do have an else, you must have an if before it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through this scenario. If the second integer is greater than the third integer, is that true? No, it's not. So this part was false. So therefore the else statement gets activated, and you'll notice that it'll print this, which is the third number is bigger than the second number. Alright, so this was false. It performed the else. Only if this is true would it have printed that the second number is bigger than the third number. Now let's go into these ands and ors that was a little bit confusing before. As you could see, I have a condition on this side and I have a condition on that side, and in the middle is an and symbol. Now remember, the only time that this would be true is if the first side is true and the second side is true. Any other scenario would go to the else statement. So, is the first integer bigger than the second integer? It is, so this side would be true. Now let's look at the other side of this and. Second integer is greater than the third integer? That part is false. So this side is true, this side is false. Therefore, this will evaluate, according to our truth table, false, because only true and true equals true. So therefore, this is true. This is false. So therefore, it'll go to the else statement, which says something was false. And that's the case. Something was false. So, now that something was false, we have now established a foundation for how if statements work and how if else statements work. Okay? So, I hope this was helpful. And like I said, the truth table will be discussed in class with a nice little text file also being uploaded to the website. All right? Thank you very much.